Hello, beautiful ladies. Karen here. Sorry, I am a little bit late today. Had a little incident today. Had had a deer attack my dog. How crazy is that? Okay, so we live on Vancouver Island. For those of you who don't know me, and on Vancouver Island, we have a pretty populated island. We actually have the highest cougar rate per capita than anywhere in North America. Thankfully, we don't have them here where I live, but we have a lot of deer. And my little doggy got out. Well, they're not little, they're retrievers. I have three retrievers. And then all of a sudden, I'm telling you, notify people in Messenger. I all of a sudden, my dog was hightailing it back, and this thing was, oops, sorry, I'm fiddling around here trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing, trying to see if there's any comments. Can somebody please say yay, nay, what the hell, we're here, we hear you. Oh, hi, Colleen. Okay, thank you. Whew. Anyways, man, they're ferocious. So I think it's fawning time, right? And she was just outside the fence. Well, those things can jump. She came inside the fence, took after my dog. And the other dog was running around crazy, and I'm running around crazy. It's 7 in the morning. And she's like, they're pretty ferocious. She's butting my dog with her head, and then going up with her paws. So anyways, paws, hoof, whatever. Jumped the fence, went away, came back again. I'm like, man. So anyways, all is good. But a little bit of a, so I'm trying to calm my dog down. She's just not herself, but she's good, she's safe. They can really do damage though, and I've heard of bad stories about deer with dogs. So it's the way it goes. Okay, let's talk today. What I want to do, I'm going to keep the comments here so I can see what's happening today. What I want to do is touch on 5 biggie things that when I work with women, this is what I look at when we're working on creating a body transformation. Now, for those of you who know me, I don't just do a body transformation, because you cannot have a physical transformation without an emotional one. Or at least that's my perspective, because especially when we get to be this age, 40, 50, 60 plus, there's a lot more life in the way. We've had a lot more stuff we've dragged with us through the years. We have endured. We still have to carry the weight of the world and aging parents and children and life on our shoulders. And that gets in the way of us being able to manage our health. So health is not just about getting lean and shapely and strong. Yes, I love that, as you know. But health took on a whole different meaning when I started to age, started to get the aches and pains. When my son is challenged with a degenerative condition, my parents died in their 40s, and so health is so much bigger than just having a great physique. But you can have both. You can have a great physique and you can have a great life. And when you weave them together, that's the ace in the hole. That is the North Star. And that's what I work through with my clients. So let's start. I was going to share my screen with you, but Facebook won't let me share, or if I do share, it won't let me come back and I can't move through. So I will do a longer video on this, showing everything, and put it up on this page. But right now, let's just go into those 5 points. So the first one is the 2 biggest lies you've been told about weight loss. So we're talking weight loss here and getting into great shape. Can anybody take a guess as to what those 2 things are? Except Colleen, because she already knows. Just kidding. Yes. So it is cardio and dieting. Okay. So these are the mainstays. And no matter how often women are taught or they know better, we still fall back on these because that's what we've been taught in our 20s and 30s and 40s. And that's what we saw with our mothers. And so, and it'll go more into this in the masterclass that I'll put up for you guys. But cardio is ineffective as a weight loss tool if you don't combine it with weight training. Now, again, this is for women over 40. Okay. So our biology, our hormones, our biochemistry, our everything is shifting. Our metabolism is shifting. Our life is shifting. And so along the way, cardio used to work for us in the 20s and 30s, right? And we see a lot of competitors using cardio. We have to use cardio though, but it's a very extreme sport. So again, we cannot look at what competitors are doing and try to apply it for a long-term sustainable program because it doesn't work. Unfortunately, people are doing it to lose the weight, and as a bucket list, it's the worst reason to do a contest is to try to lose the weight, guys, because it's very extreme and you'll ricochet back. Unless you really, really have an awesome coach that's been doing it for many, many years. It's very hard on the body, especially over 40. But cardio should be the last thing that you reach for, and it should be just to top up after your training. So the other big myth, of course, with weight loss is dieting. So again, we can't go into all the ins and outs of all the biochemistry when we're dieting, but what happens is the body gets wise, we will plateau, and the older you are and the more diets you've done, the more the body will plateau, the faster and the longer the plateaus, until you are eventually almost living in that place. The set point goes up, which means where your body holds weight. Instead of sitting at 120 pounds, maybe you're sitting at 150 pounds, and no amount of cardio or dieting is going to shift it. If it does, it shifts it for a bit, but then it rages back on. And the reason for that is because the body is not the same at 40, 50, or 60 as it was in 20 or 30 years old. So the cardio and the dieting are the least effective for weight loss. Number 2, the 4 food rules that must be in place in order for you to reach your body transformation goals. I talk about this a lot. There's a video on this page. If you go to guides on this page, go to the guides tab, which is under the picture, the banner, and you'll see a bunch of videos in there. And I've got the 4 food rules. So again, it bears repeating, guys. It is number of meals, the timing, the portions, and the macros. So every client has to have it individualized for them. It can't just be a one-off, and a lot of people just, go to Google and grab whatever, that's fine. But it doesn't sustain because there's nobody manning the store. They don't come to know your metabolism, your biochemistry. And again, this is the challenge with, it's just information. I need information. I can put it together and it can work. It can work for some people, for sure. But for the majority, it doesn't work. The other piece that's missing in this, and this is why I'm so big into mindset, is the consistency in this. So the body loves consistency. It loves predictability. It loves ritual and routine in everything. And especially when we're trying to get into great shape, get lean, keep the weight off, continue to build or maintain our muscle, which is our shape, which is our immune system, which is our metabolism. And it helps us to look great and feel great. It increases energy. It increases bone density, all of that lovely stuff, right? And so the number of meals, timings, macros, and portions must be consistent once you understand what is it that you need, where you're at in your juncture in your life. Those are really, really important. And it needs to be individualized. And if you don't have the expertise in it, find somebody who does, because it is super, super important. And find somebody who blends in athletic events or exercise, if you will. I hate to say this, guys, but a lot of nutritionists don't live in the what I call the lifestyle athlete world. And it's really, really important because as we age, you guys know I'm always pushing weight training as the tops. Now, you can do other stuff as well. But if you want shape and tone and tightness, strong immune system, energy, and you want to stay lean and you want to have strong biochemistry, metabolism, weight training rocks it all. So you can keep doing what you're doing. If you're happy with it, great. Please, please, please stay with your exercise 5 times a week. 3 is minimum. I start women on 3, but I'm always pushing them to go to 5. I'm out there probably 6 days a week, and I don't count walking or hiking or biking as exercise. That's activity, and it's lovely, and we're meant to do that in our everyday world as a course of action just to have a healthy life. The exercise is structured exercise where you have a program with a focus on building and supporting the body, right? Hi, Andrea. It's nice to see you here. Hello, hello. Okay. Number 3, the secret ritual you must do every morning for success to take hold, whether that's body success, life success. And this is what all successful people already know and do. This is a really big piece, guys. We're not taught this in school. Our parents don't often teach us. This is what I've learned over years of working with the best coaches and hi Marilyn, nice to see you, and the top business leaders who have success in their world, regardless of the industry, whether it is exercise, money, relationships, career, whatever. It is having a morning mindset ritual. That mindset ritual has to encompass a bunch of different things. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to shift as soon as you wake up, because the world, there's an onslaught of stuff coming at us, and our brain starts going, and all of a sudden we're taking off, and our day is like, what do I need to do today? And blah, 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 all that stuff. We need to, and I was speaking to my girls in my class last night, we need to put a spotlight on what our goals are. I actually like long-term goals. Now, there are some coaches that say, well, long-term is too long, you got to do short. Well, we do short-term goals about getting your food in place, getting your water in place, and we build on that. I'm talking, what do you want for your life? What do you want? How do you want that to look and feel? We want a great body. We want to feel strong. We want to be flexible. We want to age well. We want to wear nice clothes, rock our clothes. We want to be able to do a flight of stairs with groceries in our arms and not get tired. We want to be able to chase after deer that are trying to kill our dogs up and down an acre time and time again to try to, right? So this is all stuff that I can easily do because I manage my fitness level, and it's important to me. My health is important to me. My body is important to me. Functioning is important to me. And what does that mean? It means when I envision it, I go to my window in my bedroom as soon as I wake up, and I put hand on heart, and I look around and I go through a gratitude list, and I am feeling everything. We live in an amazing country. I have an amazing house. I have an amazing marriage. I have amazing clients. I have amazing work that fulfills my purpose on this planet. I have 3 amazing dogs. I've got my amazing kid. And the key is to not just parrot it and not, are you doing gratitude or are you being gratitude? Very, very different, because some people just go through and they just parrot. Well, I'm grateful for this and this and this and this and this. And it's just like a homework piece. Guys, everything is energy, and you must put your gratitude into it. The other morning mindset rituals that we do is we use our mantras, which is, again, what I do in the program. We do a belief detox, and we have to get the negative beliefs out, which are unconscious, so you don't know what they are. And that takes time, and we coach them through that so that they come to the surface, because you can't shift or change what you can't see. And what are the roots of it? Where did that start? What does that mean? What meaning are you making it have? So this is where a lot of women, and this may be you guys, a lot of women are like, oh, it's going to be hard to lose the weight. Oh, I'm not going to enjoy what I want. Well, I don't have the time. Guys, these are all, this is all the meaning that you're putting on it. It's all pain. But this is where, again, through my, the psychology piece of what I do, is we need to reframe it so that we're looking at what are we gaining from this, and stop looking at it like you're a victim of circumstances because your body is aging and it's a runaway train. Well, your body is just doing the natural course of aging as we've been teaching it, and we can always change it. And this is where application of food and exercise and mindset work is super, super important. And it's not hard work. It is stuff that you learn that becomes your new normal, so that when you wake up, you see the world differently, guys. Most people wake up and they go through their day on remote control. And at the end of the day, if I were to say to them, what was your day like? And they would do a ticker tape of what happened during the day. And they would base their level of happiness on what happened during the day. That's not it. That's not it. Happiness is an internal source. It is a skill set and a mindset that we can manage. And it's not Pollyannish thinking, guys. Okay. It's not faking it. It is really, Pema Chodron talks about this, the Buddhist monk Pema Chodron. And it really is about choosing happiness, and then everything else, even if the world falls apart, it can't lay claim to your happiness and how you live and how you move through the day. It just can't. And I talked about this, I think, last week in our call. You know, when the shit hits the fan, you've got to stay grounded and rooted in who you are, because it's not your business and it has nothing to do with you about what's happening out there. So the morning mindset ritual that I teach my women, there's a few things in there that we do. And when we do that, it only takes like 10 or 15 minutes every morning. And I know if they've done their morning mindset or if they haven't. I know. And it shows up fast. Are you doing it? Well, I didn't have time. Well, I forgot to. Well, okay. So how can we learn a new skill set if we're not putting in the time commitment, which is like 15 minutes in the morning? And then what I do is I teach them throughout the day, touch base with it, touch base with it, touch base with it. It creates a new reality and a new perspective from where you live. And I will tell you this much, you will be the unicorn in the crowd. It's like living on the periphery, living on the outskirts of what everybody else, and you're like, it's like, we call it the 30,000 foot view. It's like you're looking down on everybody scurrying around in life unconscious. They're like, oh man, I used to live down there. Now I'm up here in the sunshine. And that is what the empowerment coaching piece is all about. That's what I'm certified in. And that is a way to live. So it really is a commitment to what is your vision? What is your life moving forward? What is it that you want to be known for, or what do you want to bring forward on this planet before you leave? It's not your job. It's not your body. It's not your money. It's not your status. It's even not your kids. We all want to be great parents, right? We want to be great daughters, great wives. But it is, with all of those roles taken away, who are you at the center of it? So this is what Brene Brown talks about in her book. She talks about you're standing, you belong to everything and nothing at the same time. And you're standing alone in the wilderness. And that is who you truly are. You belong to everything and nothing at the same time. And that is a moment of grace. And that's where we can live from. And when we live from that place, nothing touches us. But we are living fully suspended, grounded, present, and living authentically with integrity and being conscious instead of unconscious. And that is the morning mindset ritual we set in place. And we visit it throughout the day. And in time, that becomes a skill set that we reach for when the poop hits the fan. Or when we're feeling like life is a little bit dull, or you're feeling depressed, or you have anxiety, or maybe you lost your job, or whatever it happens to be. Shitty stuff happens, guys. I get it. And we're meant to feel it, but we're not meant to be defined by it. Because when we're defined by our stories, our challenges, our past, then the stories start living us, and we're a victim to it, right? So that is the morning mindset ritual. And gratitude is part of it. And then whatever sets your soul on fire, that changes who you are before you walk out the door. Because a lot of people will do it and then they'll go into the busyness of life. The whole key is to sew it into the fabric of who you are. And it must light you up. It must light you up. Number 4, the real reason you can't stay motivated. And yeah, I know, air quotes. Somebody said, you still do air quotes? I do. The real reason you can't stay motivated and enjoy sustainable change, which means you're good for a while, you're on track with your food, you're on track with your exercise, you're on track with your yoga, whatever it happens to be, you're on track with your podcast, and then all of a sudden it peters away. Again, this is mindset. This is where we have to train our brain in different ways, because here's the deal. The psyche always wants to be comfortable in what it's doing and doesn't like change. Okay? It doesn't want to change. And that is how the brain is wired, guys. Okay? It is wired to stay in its comfort zone, even when the comfort zone isn't healthy. It's just the way it is. The mindset piece is where most coaches, well, they call themselves coaches. I wouldn't even call them coaches. I'm sorry. Coaching takes years. It takes certification. It takes hundreds of clients. It takes time with the client. And it takes a deep, deep understanding on how to change, how to reach and change those inner neurotransmitters in the brain, a cognitive restructuring. Because this is what, we say, coaches change lives. It's about the person. It's not even so much about the skill set, whether you're a basketball coach or a hockey coach or whatever it happens to be, a swim coach. A good coach reaches the person. And every person is different. Every person is different. And that is the time and that is the skill set. That's the aha moments. And I had this on a call with a woman yesterday. And we talked for an hour because I do free breakthrough calls. And we talked for an hour. There's one thing she said. One thing. And I went back to it after. And went, you said this. And we had to dig in because for me as a coach, that is it's an art form. And that is what happens as you do this longer and longer, where you kind of go, oh, wait, let's bring that back. And then when she emailed me, she said, you said one thing to me. And it was that little thing that we brought back. And I said one thing about it. That was what changed her attitude. And she came in to work with me. That's the beauty of what we get to do. It is those aha moments, the moments of when the mindset is freed up because we see something differently, and it takes, we can't do it to ourselves, guys, because it's like we can't tickle ourselves, okay? So we need an expert, whether it's a coach or whether sometimes therapy can help in counseling. I love those, but sometimes they take so long. And then they focus on the past. We're not supposed to be focused on the past because then that becomes so heavy and it becomes our story. So what I get to do with empowerment coaching is look at that, recognize, see it for what it is, come into the present and say, where are we going in the future? Where do we need to go? What do we need to do? What's the path to get there? And it's a different journey and a different strategy for everybody, but it's always the same. They want a great body. They want to have great health. They want to have a great relationship. They want to know why they're here. They want to live this planet on purpose and with their potential fully intact, know who they are and love the aging process and know that they have lived the best life with the best health and the best body, because they are intertwined, guys. Okay? They must be intertwined. I know a lot of women that have great bodies, but they have terrible self-esteem, terrible self-worth, and they are beating their bodies up into submission. That is not health. And it is creating a crinkling in the cells. It is creating a heaviness in the cells that is not healthy, and that is what is the basis of disease and anxiety and depression and panic, all of that stuff. I know this to be true. I've done a lot of work in that area, but I've lived through it too. And I've worked with a lot of women who have been in that place. And so we need to focus on the light, who we are, and build that up. So the reason you can't stay motivated is because you're down here. And there's fear. And there's a lot of fear out there, guys. I have women booking calls and then they're like, oh, I can't, I got to do this. Oh, I can't, I got to do this. And there's fear because things are changing in the world, but it's supposed to be changing in the world because we are supposed to be ascending. We are supposed to be growing into our best self and helping humankind and others along the way, not by us telling them and pulling them along, by us living our best life. And when we do that, we elevate everybody else. So we have a saying in empowerment coaching, if somebody's really down in shame and guilt and anger and frustration, we work on the energetics, right? And so I can assess pretty quick when I'm talking to somebody because I can feel their energy. I know where they're at. I go down and meet them there, but then we bring them up. What a lot of people do is go down and meet them there and stay there. And then they become this pity party of where they're at. in their life, in their world, in aging, in their body. And this is what happens in mainstream, guys. This is what happens with, I call it regurgitated thought. It's what everybody's saying out there. Aging sucks, hormones suck, I don't like my job, I never have enough money, I wish I had a better body, it's all hormones, I hate dieting because it doesn't work. Guys, stop the noise. Start choosing differently. Okay? Don't follow the crowd. We love to conform. We're made to conform. That's the problem, is that we conform and we're in the groupthink with everybody else because it's safe. The women I work with have the courage to go, I don't want that anymore. I need to move away to craft a new way, a unique life, operated from and rooted in something different, other than martyrdom, victimhood, sadness, grief, complaining about gas prices and food prices and politics and health. I know all that. You're right. It's there. But when it becomes you, then all we're doing is we're focusing on what's not working instead of what's working. That's the other deal, is the brain is wired with fear and to look for what's wrong. That, again, is another hardwiring in our brains, guys. And the reason that's there is because it's a survival mechanism. I've got to look for what's wrong first. I got to protect, right? Got to watch for the tiger as I come out of the cave. But that runs the show for most people. And we look at what's not working, and then that becomes our narrative for everything. So I have a mission statement. In that mission statement, I say, I do not work with victims. I do not work with people who complain. I do not work with people who do not have the courage or don't want to show up for self, because that has to be in their mindset to say, this isn't working for me. I don't know why, but I need support or I need to do something different, right? So just check in where you're at and start listening to the self-talk or the feelings, because the feelings are at the base of your belief system, right? We believe something and it's the feelings that run the show. And this is where women will beat up on themselves about not having a great body or aging and all that stuff. And it hurts my heart, because it doesn't have to be that way, but a lot of times we hear it from other people. We heard it from maybe our parents. Unfortunately, the mother wound is big in a lot of women, where they heard stuff from their mother or they watched their mother do the same thing and they're parroting the same pattern of behavior, the same self-sabotage, and it's unconscious. They don't know. They just think, well, that's just the way I am. No, it's what you've chosen unconsciously along the way, and it's crafted us into this personality. But the personality can shift, because here's the deal. We're either working from soul or we're working from personality. The personality is important because this is what we show to the world, and this is what moves us forward in our life. But we can't be personality driven. It must be from source energy, from our soul. That's why I say, hi, Tammy, nice to see you. That's why I say we have to do a soul-centered, heart-centered approach to anything in our world. Our marriage, our money, our job, our career, our body transformation. If it's not coming from this place, guys, it won't sustain. I always say that my job is to work myself out of a job. So when women come work with me, yes, I'm the body and life transformation coach. I need to, first of all, assess if they're truly committed, and they're going to be scared. I get it, because change is scary. But then I have to know that I can give them the skill set and the toolkit and teach them in their language, not me. It's about meeting them where they're at. And that's why this coaching piece is vitally individualized and takes time and takes patience and takes a strong relationship between coach and client. And then we can create an understanding and a journey that is unique to them, because we're all snowflakes, guys. We're all snowflakes. But at the end of the day, we want to be loved. We want to love. We want to have health. We want to feel proud in our bodies. We want to age well. And we want to know that we matter, right? That's it. So the reason you can't stay motivated is because of your mindset. Because you are falling into the trap of thinking like the majority. and thinking that, oh, here we go again. I'm going to fail again. It's not going to work. Or my body's different. Or, I tried this before and I don't know. But at the bottom of it often is they're not feeling worthy. And there can be a fear of commitment or a fear of accountability. Once we learn how to live differently, there is a responsibility to maintain that. But we're already maintaining and the way we're living anyways. So instead of looking at it like it's going to be hard, it's not. Guys, it's going to be hard if you're living in a body that you don't love, if you're living in a body with excess weight, with rising blood sugars, blood pressure, with not having the same level of intimacy with your partner because you don't like your body, right? Or you have sex with the lights off. All of that stuff. It all matters. So it's really important that we understand that this is mostly mindset. 80% of what I do is mindset. We got to start from the inside out, not the outside in, not the let's get the food plan, let's get the calorie count, let's get the workout. That's what most women are doing. And they're taking the outside and bringing it in thinking, oh, this is good, but there's no change inside. There's no change. It has to be an inside out approach, right? And you've got to have the proper food plan that has to be revisited over time. You have to be managed. They have to look at your biomarkers. They have to look at your biofeedback, see what's working, the workouts, all that stuff. Like there's a lot of components that come in, but the bigger piece is where is the woman sitting in her mindset around all of this? And if she's seeing it like, I'll never be able to do this, she's making it right. This is where the coaching piece is so, so important. We are meaning-making machines, and we have to change the meaning. If we don't change the meaning, we stay with the old meaning. We can't not think about the bad stuff because we think about the bad stuff, right? It's like in the mantra work that we do, which is the first week when women come in, we do a beliefs detox, big stuff. It's very freeing. It's not scary. All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, why have I been carrying this for 40 years? Now what do I need to do to shift it? That's the great piece, right? And they'll be looking at it going, why was I unconsciously carrying that rock for the last 1,000 miles? I don't know, just because there was nothing else in the way. But we can't just, it's like, okay, let's look at it this way. Let's look at money. Okay, everybody's got money issues. I don't have money issues because I worked through that. We all deserve to make money, guys. If you have a fear of money, you're not going to make money. If you have scarcity mentality, you're not going to make money. So again, we talk about that. It's the same principles, just applied to a different factor of your life. That's all. So I don't want to be poor. People say, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be poor. What the psyche hears is poor, poverty. And the feeling underneath it is the weight of it. And what happens is you stay in that energy because your psyche doesn't know. When you say, I don't want it, you're actually focusing on it because so we have to change it by saying, I am moving into abundance and this is what it looks like. I am on my way towards. And so we build mantras and there's a certain, dare I say, formula to mantras. It's not positive thinking, but it is a way to start shifting your brain because the neurotransmitters, again, it's just psychology. It's the way they're fired. You've got like a neurotransmitter, or you've got a neuron, and you got a neuron, and you got a neural that fires in between. So those neurotransmitters, they're like creating roadways, tire tracks in your brain, and it becomes automatic. That is why if you hear a song and suddenly it's when your husband broke up with you or he had an affair, and then it goes over here and it goes deeper. But if you hear another song and it reminds you of your first love and it was exciting, then it goes over there. And so it all depends on the input in the brain, but you can change those. You can change the wiring, but that is the coaching piece. That's not reading a book. That's not getting a self-help book. It's not listening to a podcast. It is doing that close relationship with a coach in the know that can change that for you. And the 5-factor strategy you must have in order to create a successful and sustainable body transformation and an awesome life. You guys know this. It has to be food, movement, mindset. You have to have accountability and support built in for sure. And you have to have mentoring or coaching, somebody to lead you along the way. So those are the 5 things that where I work through and that you need to support and bring into if you want radical and sustainable change, not just in your body transformation, but to transfer it and to be rooted in your heart, your soul, your mindset. Because if it's not there, I always say the mindset is like soil, okay? So think about if you grow crops and you've got your 2 little plants, the perfect workout and the perfect food plan. If you're planting it in soil, which is the mindset that is not nurtured and nourished, it doesn't get fresh air and sunshine. It's old and dry, and it hasn't been shifting, hasn't been churned up. No matter what perfect workout and food plan you put in there, it will not take root and grow. That is the same metaphor that I work through with women. Is the mindset needs to be nurtured and nourished, and it needs to be rich in its ability to support the change in your lifestyle around the food, around the exercise piece. Because I have so many women, and I don't work with these women, but so many women that say, I just want the perfect workout, just tell me. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of like thinking like a 12-year-old. Just tell me what to do. Give me the perfect thing and I'll follow it. I've had women ask me how I train because they think if they have my workout, they'll be able to get in shape and stay in shape at this age. It doesn't work that way. Guys, I've had like hundreds of different workouts over the years. It is the commitment to the performance in the gym and having the work and the commitment and the diligence day in, day out, even when I don't want to. That's what you had to do to work up in your career, to make money for your mortgage, to parent your kids. You don't just sit back and go, oh, I'm tired today, just do whatever you want. If you do, you're going to have a pretty rambunctious child and they're not going to know the rules, right? And we have to understand that every single woman on this planet has commitment, has discipline, has tenacity, and she is capable of creating a vision that carries her forward into the day she leaves the planet. Living with passion and purpose and vitality and confidence is the only way to live. That's true living, guys, along with having a great body to sustain you through that journey. Because it's never about the end result. It is the journey along the way. It is the process and what you learn about yourself along the way. And I'll just finish with this. If you have pitfalls, if you fall on your face, that is the learning, guys. That is where we pick you up and we reframe. Life is a constant reframe. If you're looking at it like a failure, you're making it a failed thing. It's not failure. I've had women that have been dieting for 30 years and they're like, I don't want to fail again, so I don't want to try again. Okay, that is because that's the meaning you're putting on it. So what are you doing? You're handcuffing yourself to never be able to move in a fresh way to create fresh change because the fear is holding you back. And the fear is the biggest piece that I see with women wanting to create change in their relationship, in their money, in their career, in their body, whatever it happens to be. You can't wait for courage to show up. The universe knows when you're making excuses, and so do I. And it's a muscle like anything else. It can only be trained by moving through the fear. That's how we do it. I can't wait for my biceps to get strong before I go into the gym and lift. I make them strong and shapely because I go into the gym and I apply all the time, and that's building those muscles, the inner muscles of courage and discipline and commitment and change and tenacity and self-love. Those are all internal muscles within us. Those are weak in a lot of people. And those are the ones that are asking in this moment in time when the world is changing and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. This is the moment in time when we are being asked to do differently, to consider expanding yourself into those unknown places that are really just waiting for you to discover them. Seriously. And once you start applying courage, then you start applying it everywhere and you start recognizing, and here's something, when you start feeling fearful, that's the message to me, oh, I need to move into this Because I'm a little bit nervous. Oh, that means that there's change happening. So I have to do this. If I don't do it, I will let myself down, and I lived half my life contracted in my little box safe until I went, you know what? I'm getting older. What is life for? I don't understand. Like, it's so short. It is so short. So that's why I say you can't have a body transformation without an emotional transformation. The physical and the emotional need to be tied in together, especially for women over 40 who know this. And the women who don't know it are the women I usually don't work with, because it's too much to try to open them up to an understanding of that. And everybody has their own experience on the journey. Everybody comes with their own level of awareness, right? Some people are further along on the personal growth, or they're further along in the metaphysical or the workings of energy, and other people aren't. And that's okay. It's just where we are in our life journey and what we bring in for experience. And so the women I work with are on the edge, and they're like, well, I know, I know there's something else. They can't quite put their finger on it, but they know they feel unfulfilled. And they're coming on the call because I do believe it's their higher self that comes on the call with me, or finds me maybe in Facebook or whatever, where we can have this conversation. And often they'll say, nobody talks like you. Like, I've never heard anybody talk like you. Well, a lot of us are in talking like this, guys. It's just that you haven't been in that world. But that is what starts to wake women up when they go, that's what I'm looking for. And you start to recognize yourself in others. And this is where I say, please remember, we are defined by the 5 people we hang with. Okay? So there's a little saying. I don't know if I have the book here. Yeah, I do. Let me just share this last piece with you. So this is Jay Shetty. We do a lot of reading in my program too. We touch on different things. We have a lot of thought leaders that we've looked at. So this is Think Like a Monk. Think Like a Monk. And this is something about our value system. And I want you to consider this, because our value system creates the life and the people that we surround ourselves with. But we have to be really careful with our value system, because sometimes we speak it, but we don't live it. Okay, so there is this resistance, there's this dichotomy within us, and we're not coming from soul-centered place. And the body knows, and the soul knows too, and you know too, really. So this is where who you surround yourself with helps you stick to your values and achieve your goals. If you're looking for love, look in places that are value-driven, like service opportunities. If you're looking to create a great body or be in a gym, then you need to be around other like-minded people who value their health. When I spend time with this person or group, do I feel like I'm getting closer to or further away from where I want to be? Who you talk to, what you watch, what you do with your time. All of these sources push values and beliefs. Super, super important, guys, because we are our value system. No matter what you think your values are, your actions tell the real story. What we do with our spare time shows what we value. For instance, you might put spending time with your family at the top of your list of values, but if you spend all your free time playing golf, your actions don't match your values, and you need to do some self-examination. So he was talking about, if you want to rise up to the level of what he did with his mentoring, then you need to hang with other people who have the same thing. We're wired to conform. Your brain would rather not deal with conflict and debate. It would much prefer to lounge in the comfort of like-mindedness. That's not a bad thing if we're surrounded by, say, monks. But if we're surrounded by gossip, conflict, and negativity, we start to see the world in those terms, right? So we need to be careful who we hang with, what we're filling our brain with. And this is the mindset piece in any successful program. Again, whether it's to build a business, I've been in a mindset coaching group for years. Whether it's to build a great relationship. We just had a relationship coach on our program 2 weeks ago. She was amazing, and she is also an empowerment coach. We graduated together. And the mindset piece is super, super important. Whether you want to make more money, It is understanding that you need to move into that space and be surrounded that in that ecosystem. So the ecosystem has to be there. And if the ecosystem is there, like rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if I'm working with a woman, but she is working with me and everything's great, but she has a caustic life, or she has a husband that's not supportive, downplays her accomplishments, or won't support her in a body transformation, it usually won't work, guys. So that is why I do ask women when they come to work with me, does your husband know you're on the call? Or your wife? What do they think? If we do this, will they be able to support you? Or at the least, will they not undercut you? Because sometimes they can just like not be involved, and that's fine too, right? But if there is that undercut, or if they're unhealthy, if they're sometimes I work with women who have diabetes, for example, and I have to ask about the husband. And if he is in the same place, quite overweight and in peril with his health, then they have to understand that this is a journey for both, because it won't work if one gets healthy and the other doesn't. There's going to be resentment, because although we like to think that we want our other people to be healthy, sometimes it sets up an alarm, because then we have to look at self and go, oh, well, she's doing over there. Well, what does that mean for me? And so we become like a mirror, and we reflect back to other people. All of these things have to be taken into consideration. But at the end of the day, guys, this journey is yours. Your body and your health is your responsibility, only yours. We don't need to ask permission. We need to understand that when we better self, that ripple effect goes out to our partners, to our children, to our parents, to our community, to our work, to our view of the world. It reflects on our self-esteem and our self-worth. So the ripple effect of when we get better, be the change you want to see in the world, was what Gandhi always said. We only work with this. Everything starts and ends with us. And when women start to divert their attention, go out there, I'm like, bring it back, bring it back. Well, I'm scared. Well, I'm nervous. Well, I'm falling off track. Bring it back, bring it back. Let's look at it here. Don't go out there. Because if you go out there, you're going to lose yourself again. Stay in here. Do the work. Let's do it together, right? Changing how you think, how you see. And when you're rooted and grounded in who you are so deeply, nothing can sway you, guys. And it is the best feeling in the world to own yourself and to value. Too many people say they value their health, but they're filling up with shitty food, shitty thoughts, shitty relationships. I know all that. I did that, right? And I was still in the gym training, but I didn't really value my health. I was just a gym rat. Big difference. Okay, you guys, I'm going to finish this. Anybody got any questions, any comments before I go? Anything? No? Okay. I will keep this up on the page. I do apologize again. I know there's a slight buzz here. What I know is that when you use this is an external mic, but I'm using a camera hooked into my laptop. I think that's what creates a buzz. Only on Facebook Lives, not on anything else. So I do apologize for that little buzz. Maybe one day I will come across a techie person that says, let me help you with all of your techie stuff. And that would be great, because I'm busy in my world. Okay, you guys, lots of love. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. And we will see you. Thanks, Colleen. We will see you when we see you. See you on the page. Okay. Remember, love yourself into health. You're worth it. Okay? Okay, ciao.